Hi there, my name is Zondra Evans. I'm the founder and CEO of Zondra TV Network here in Dallas, Texas. And I was absolutely honored to be asked to be a speaker today at this conference. Now listen, I'm going to talk to you about the power of your digital footprint. I believe that it's critically important as an entrepreneur that you understand that you have to have a digital real estate plan in order to be able to build, grow, and scale your business. Now, I think everything starts out with a really good story, you all. And so I want to talk to you about 7 years ago. Part of this is going to be also to share with you the power of a blue rose moment. It's one of my signature speeches that I do. And I talk about the power of a blue rose. Now let's talk about what a blue rose is so that when I refer to it throughout this presentation, you'll get the understanding. So a blue rose it's uncommon. They don't show up at your doorstep every day. It's really that thing where you're coloring outside the lines, or maybe there's no lines at all. It's really unconventional, right? We have been conditioned to believe in red, yellow, and white roses. Red roses mean love coming up soon. And then, yellow means spring or Easter, whichever you believe in. And then white roses are kind of like deuces, you're out of here, and a lot of them show up. And so I want to talk to you today about blue roses, that they really do exist. And it's whether or not you're willing to color outside the lines and create a landscape of something that maybe no one has ever heard of. So I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm going to tell you the importance of digital streaming. So 7 years ago, I was offered to buy my first Roku channel. And at that time, listen, nobody was talking about everybody's going to be watching TV on their phone. In fact, when I would go speak on stages, just like this one, and I would tell people everybody's going to be using their phone to watch TV, they would be smiling at me, but their eyes were saying, go get a job. Now today, some of those same people are busting my door down because why? Everybody is watching and ingesting streaming TV. So 7 years ago, I bought my first channel, and if I had listened to my friends and my family, they were like, what are you doing? You know, I'm a baby boomer with millennial tendencies, so what do I know about streaming TV? I grew up on rabbit ears, and some of y'all listening today probably did too. That's how you got a signal, right? Well, I bought the channel, and I sat on it for a minute because I didn't know what to do with it. How many times have you all decided that you're going to do something in business and you sit on it? And so today I want to talk about you can no longer sit on your laurel and think that miraculously you're going to build a global business without having some type of global exposure. Now, I also have to remove some of the myths about advertisement and exposure, because a lot of times, we think, this is it, this is that. No, advertisement all the days of our lives have been one thing, and that is exposure marketing. And the more exposure you have, the greater possibility of conversion. In fact, if you look at the statistics today, people need to see you 20 to 25 times, not in one place, but in many places, in order to believe that maybe I should work with them when I need a life coach, or maybe I should work with them when I want to be a co-author in a book, or maybe I should go to Zondra TV Network and get an interview. You got to be seen. One of our taglines is be seen, be heard, and grow, because we believe that both those things have to be happening in your business simultaneously. But let's talk about digital. So I want to get into the digital piece of this, right? And I bought the channel, didn't know what to do with it. Finally figured out how to get out of the jungle. Which way is the highway? I got to the highway with it. And I got to the highway with the desire to help business entrepreneurs to scale and grow their business, and especially small business entrepreneurs to scale and grow their business exponentially. But the one thing that I knew is the only way that that could happen is that I leveled the playing field for small business entrepreneurs. And so that's what we've been doing for the last 7 years, leveling the playing field. You may be asking yourself, what does that mean, Zondra? Well, guess what? We've made it possible for you to be able to be on any form of streaming TV on Amazon, Roku, and Apple any day of the week, any time of the day, and have that exposure of your business. I believe that you're the best storyteller of your business. Now, I could repeat your story, but I probably will leave some key things out, just like nobody could tell their story better than me. Because I was the one in it when nobody else thought streaming TV was the thing. I was still trudging forth ahead and saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to forge ahead. I know that I'm on the right track, right? But at the end of the day, it takes a strategy. And so most oftentimes we do not have a digital strategy in order to really create the appropriate digital footprint and landscape that we need. So a lot of times I'll talk to clients and go, you're in business, right? Nobody goes in business to say, I just want to sell to my neighborhood, because eventually you're going to run out of customers. Don't you think so? So you got to figure out a way to get greater exposure. Now, listen, exposure is not conversion. So I don't want you to think about any advertisement as being conversion. Let me tell you why. Let's talk about a TV commercial, and we all watch them. And then sometimes we really don't watch them. We go get some popcorn, go to a bio break, we do whatever. But for the most part, let's talk about it. If you did watch the commercial and it was a great steak, you don't jump up off of your couch that day, put on your clothes, get in your car, drive 10 miles down to that restaurant to get that steak. However, if I see that steak commercial enough and it's mouth-watering, the next time I'm in the neighborhood and I'm hungry and I want a steak, I think I might go there, right? That's really how our mind works. This is the way it all works, you all. Nobody jumps up and decides yes on that. Now, some people say, well, sure, if you look at some of the social media where we got influencers, all kinds of things happening. Well, what's happening there? Well, listen, it's usually a very inexpensive buy. So have you seen the, different ads that say, hey, we've got this great, cream that if you put it under your eyes, it'll take all the wrinkles away and you'll be blah, blah, blah. And by the way, for the next 24 hours, you can get a second jar of that cream absolutely free. So for $15.99, you get two, and we'll pay the shipping and handling. Oh, y'all know we didn't say that. I done bought so many things that I didn't really. It was impulse buying. Impulse buying is a reality, but impulse buying only happens when it's $15 to $20. Impulse buying doesn't happen when you decide to buy a Lexus. Impulse buying you don't decide to do that when you're buying something of significance. Now, I want to ask you, is your business of significance? Because if it is, then you should be looking at how to grow your business into a global presence. And there is no better way to do that than on streaming TV. Now, I'm going to ask you this, because a lot of times we think, oh, I'm the TV lady, and that's all I want to talk about is streaming TV. Well, actually, I like to talk about other things too. So let me ask you this. How many of you have a business? And how many of you have had a press release written about your business and sent all over the United States? Just to start with that. Not your local neighborhood, but in the United States. Most of us would not be raising our hands, let's be honest. Now, one of the things that I think is critically important is that if you don't tell the press what's going on, I can guarantee you the press is not coming to ring your doorbell. It ain't happening. So you are the storyline. It is for you to create that storyline so that the press runs your story, right? So that's one thing you can do to get your digital footprint started. I don't care what anybody tells you. Press releases are still extremely important in this business, and you should take heed to that. So listen, that's one. Let me tell you the second thing. How many of you have been interviewed on TV for more than 5 minutes? Most of y'all probably ain't raising your hand, because I wouldn't be raising my hand if this was 10 years ago. Most of us haven't been on TV. And so now we've leveled the playing field. So you could be on TV now. Think about that. You could be interviewed for 30 minutes, not 5 minutes, but for 30 minutes, and really tell your story. Because the reason why that's important is because people don't buy from you because the color of your logo or the design of your website. People buy from you because of the know, like, and trust factor. And so I'm just telling you, telling your story, people get behind your story. You see, my story is significant. Most people don't know that I sold my primary home for this vision. Really? Well, where did I stay? And then I rented a room for 3 years, the first 3 years of this business, because I put everything into this because I believed that this was really the thing for me to do to help make my legacy shine when I'm no longer in this earth. I want people that are small business entrepreneurs just like me to have the advantage of being on streaming TV. And so that's why, right? So nobody can tell your story better than you. So now we've leveled the playing field for that. You can be on TV and tell your story. I mean, how many businesses are like yours that can say that they're being featured on Amazon, Roku, and Apple for a year? Come on. That's pretty awesome. Okay, last but not least. How many of you, well, no, it's really not last. This is the third thing. I want to talk about commercial advertisement because commercial advertisement is needed. Yep, it is. Because listen, if you don't tell it, nobody knows about it. If you don't share about your business, nobody knows about it. I promise you. So I'm here to tell you that commercial advertisement is within your reach. Why shouldn't you have a commercial running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on your behalf? Why shouldn't you extend your brand to a company that has won multiple international awards? You get to be able to adopt that, right? That's an awesome thing. So in my mind, a commercial ad should be running when you're asleep. How are you going to create those 7 streams of revenue that you need if something isn't working while you're sleeping? What do you have working while you're sleeping? Even if you've got a course, let's say it's on Teachable or whatever it may be. Are you advertising about that when you're asleep? Because how will people know to access that? So you've got to start advertising. That's just all it is to it. Did you know that even for a small business, your marketing and advertisement budget should be about 15% of your entire revenue goal? What are you doing? You got to do this. This is just what you need to do in order to begin to scale and grow your business, right? Okay, I'm going to give you the last thing. The last thing is, do you want to have your own TV network? You could. For real, Zondra? Yeah, you can own your own TV network. You know, I don't believe that we all have to build it from the ground up. Sometimes we just need to make it available from the midpoint up, not from the ground up. And so that's what we've done. We've got 2 things. We've got an academy where we teach you how to be a producer, a real TV producer, that you get to put that into your signature that you're a producer on TV. But not only that, we also have a way for you to own your own TV network, and that's called our micro TV network. All of that comes together through our Producer Academy. So we are excited about what we're doing to level the playing field for business entrepreneurs like you, the people who listen to me today. Now listen, when I was asked to do this, one of the things that I wanted you to understand that there are some myths that really need to be removed from your mindset. There are some things that you need to really just look at things differently. Now, a lot of people talk about reframing your mindset, and I don't believe in reframing an old mindset. And so a lot of times we'll put a new frame on an old mindset. Not so much. I don't think that's the way to do it. I think that you literally have to figure out, you know, what is it that I'm trying to achieve? Okay, so let's talk about your mindset. You can't believe that any marketing and advertisement you do is going to be immediate conversion, meaning that your phone is going to start ringing. But I promise you, if you market and advertise enough, and when I say enough, I mean a lot. What do I mean by that? I mean, you need to be posting every day on social media. Are you doing that today? Well, what about 5 times a week? What about 3 times a week? What about a couple of times a week? Most of us aren't even doing that. And so it is imperative that you begin to really leverage social media and do your posting. Now, I know that none of y'all, maybe 1 or 2, might have got some business from your postings, but most of the time it's exposure. Everything that you do when it comes to marketing advertisement is absolutely exposure, right? So you got to start doing something. You've got to develop that strategy. Now, I'm going to include a link in this message that I'm delivering today. And in that link is going to give you the ability to be able to go and, if nothing else, take an assessment, right? You want to take the assessment that will show you kind of how you're doing in reference to your digital footprint. You need to have a digital footprint. Now, listen, don't let nobody tell you that you don't need that. You do want to grow and scale your business. Now, if you look back in 2020, when the pandemic hit, I think I was probably the saddest person on earth. And I was sad because I've been on a personal crusade, and I continue to be on a personal crusade to tell the story about the importance of your digital strategy. Now, when all of those businesses went out of business because they didn't have a digital component to your business, I was sad about that. Because I don't care what business you have, you need a digital component to your business. What does that mean? Google is the source of truth. If 8 billion plus Google searches are performed every day, how many are you showing up in? Well, the only way to show up in those Google searches is a couple of things. You gotta feed the animal. I call Google the animal. You have to feed the animal with content, all kinds of content, video content, not just using your phone video content. I'm talking about all content. I'm talking about good video content with lower thirds. I'm talking about good content from blogging. I'm talking about being able to have great posts. I'm talking about being able to have, great articles that have been written by you. All of that is feeding Google. When I first started, like years ago, when Google first started, I have to tell you, the print on Google was so large. It was like a font of maybe 16, and it was only one page. It was all called news. Now, if you look at Google, it's sectioned off. There is images and logos and photos and videos and and articles and news, and it's all sectioned out because there's so much content. 8 billion Google searches a day. How many are you showing up in? So you got to do something about your business. Tell people about it. Get that digital component to your business. Now, people say, well, I'm a local plumber. That's okay too. You could be a local plumber and still you need a digital footprint. What do I mean by that? You should be running a commercial. You should do a geo-targeted marketing campaign where we can land that commercial in any zip code of your choice. You got to do something. So listen, I'm not preaching. Like I always tell people, I am not selling you. I'm telling you, I'm not trying to sell you today. I'm telling you that your digital footprint absolutely does matter. And you got to do something about that, y'all. It's up to you. It is all up to you. What are you going to do differentially in this year to really make a difference in your business? I'm looking for you to make a difference in your business. Now, there's going to be a link where you can schedule time. If you want to schedule time, it's complimentary. We're giving it away. Why? Because we know how important it is that you solidify your digital footprint. And so with my last couple of minutes of closing, the one thing I want to tell you is this. I want to tell you 4 things that you need to consider. You've got to consider, how will I grow and scale? Period. That's something that has to be considered. How am I going to grow and scale outside of my local neighborhood? Nobody just wants to stay in their local neighborhood. They just don't, you guys. So that's number 1. How will you do that? The second thing is, how will you actually create a landscape in other states? Well, what are you going to do? The third thing is, how will you just create a digital footprint for yourself? Even if it's in a local neighborhood, how will people know to find you? Hey, and by the way, your SEO needs to be updated on a regular basis. And the fourth thing is, if you don't tell your story, absolutely nobody can tell it better than you. So you got to figure out how you're going to differentially play. I want you to play. I'd love for you to play with Zondra TV Network. We are proud to say that we're a multiple international award-winning network, and that we got over 60 producers that produce content on this network every single month and keep people entertained, or I should say edutained, because we're more of an edutainment platform. We are here to help create a positive experience and a positive programming to help you to navigate your journey. So we've coined ourselves as the home of positive programming. Come join us. Come check us out. I'm glad that I had time to speak with you today on the power of your digital footprint. You can no longer afford to wait. Now is the time. Create your digital real estate plan. Know what that is and start executing and implementing today. You could wait no longer. If another pandemic was to happen, are you ready? I want to make sure that you're ready. I thank you for the time that I spent talking to you about the power of your digital footprint and how creating a digital real estate plan really does matter. So until I see you in the future, whenever that may be, continue to be the absolute best you. Peace.